Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Light back at it with my YouTube video. In today's video, we're going to be doing my Ahsoka 2023 review here on the channel. So, yeah, I know it's been a while. It's been a while, YouTube, but yeah, I'm trying to record some more videos, and I thought, why not? Let's fire our Ahsoka review here. Now, I'm not saying I'm back for a while, but yeah, um, videos will come. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm planning on recording some videos. So yeah. Anyways, so yeah, in today's video, like it does say, um, I'm going to be reviewing the Ahsoka TV series that recently just aired. Um, One thing I want to importantly note is this show. Well, spoilers, of course. I'm gonna be spoiling the show, so if you haven't seen it, leave. Click off the video right now and go watch it and come back, I guess. So yeah, I'll wait like 2 seconds, and yeah. Okay, so basically the show deals with a lot of like kind of cliffhangers and stuff to really talk about that isn't really with a kind of a review kind of format. That's more of just like a thoughts type thing. But this is more like a review. This is more like I'm gonna be talking about what I liked, what I disliked, and that, but not like, oh, what do I think is gonna happen to Ahsoka and in the future or something like that. I'm not doing that. I'm just particularly or talking about what's next for Star Wars or any of that kind of stuff. I'm not going to be talking about that in this video. I'll probably save that for a future video. Um, but yeah, this is just strictly a review. So, without ado, let's get into it. So, my initial reaction. I actually like the show. I thought it wasn't too bad. I thought it was pretty good. Um, I kind of found no problems with it. Or there was a few problems, not gonna lie, but I kind of found where it was definitely a good show. I did enjoy it. Um, I I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I did wait for all episodes to come out, and I'll watch them kind of like at the same exact time, rather than wait a week to watch it and stuff like that. So I don't know if that affects the show really, like the viewing experience. But I just in case for the record, I did watch it like that, and I definitely thought it was definitely well thought out. It definitely helped in explaining a lot of things within the Star Wars continuity. It definitely helped with that. It definitely showcased some interesting stuff, and it had a good story as well. I would say it had a good story for what it was. I definitely thought it was a good story. So yeah. So in terms of like what I liked and stuff like that, and my initial reaction, like concisely, um, I definitely liked I definitely like the actors they hired to portray these different characters. As we know, coming into the season or coming into the show, but essentially, we knew that the returning Rebels cast would actually come, or not the returning Rebels cast, but the people who were in Rebels would end up making their live action first appearances, and kind of like a lot of people are nicknaming this like season 6 of Rebels. And to be honest with you, I don't blame them. I mean, this is kind of like season 6 of Rebels with a splash of Ahsoka in it. Honestly, that's just my personal opinion, and that's kind of where it goes kind of bad, for me at least, is with that. Um, so yeah, with the good, I mean, it definitely was an interesting story because, especially with the fact that the whole plot around the show was you're finding Grand Admiral Thrawn who's missing and whatever, and they did it in a kind of way where it made sense and didn't feel like there was a filler episode after filler episode. I felt like I realistically could say this. Um, I really felt as if this show told a story right from start to finish, no filler, and just as a like a just like a straight up movie. I felt like this was kind of like a movie in my opinion. It wasn't really like a TV show. I think of this as like an 8 hour movie. That's just personally what I have to say. Like I think of this as like more of like a movie because of the way it was moving. It just felt like it was all together, and that's one thing I couldn't say about some of the other Star Wars and Marvel shows. I know technically Marvel's unrelated, but I mean they're kind of under the same kind of formula in my opinion. But I mean like some of these shows aren't feeling as if some of these shows aren't feeling as if they're like together. It's more like they're like kind of split up into like with lots of filler and stuff like that. Even the Mandalorian kind of suffers from it in season three, in my opinion. Even in partially season two, it kind of even was like that. Whereas I felt like with the Ahsoka show, it definitely told a good story. I liked the costume designs. The costume designs were really cool. It really necessarily nailed the Rebels kind of look of them, the way they looked and translated well to live action. So that was really good. Um, I like the creativity behind it. I know technically, I think I'm just gonna help them out here. I think they're planning on doing a season two or something with those. I don't even know what they're. They said they weren't Sith lords. They said they were like mercenaries or something. But I think I thought they were like inquisitors or something. They kind of had that inquisitor look, but I can't remember exactly their names right off the top of my head. But the villains of the show basically. I'm I was intrigued by the creativity behind them, but I also feel as if they didn't explain them too well, in my opinion. But I think partially that has to do with the fact that maybe they potentially were going to do a season two or something with them and explain them furthermore, because I was just like, what? I was having a hard time understanding exactly what their main purpose and what they were trying to do was. They basically were trying to help Thrawn, and I was like really kind of misunderstanding that, in my opinion. So yeah, and then another good part would definitely be if you're a Rebels fan. Like I'm telling you, if you're a Rebels fan, you would 100% like the show. I'm gonna be honest with you. You're gonna be 100% like the show because if again, it felt like a Rebels season six, as well as you kind of got to see your those familiar characters as they kind of come back and join back together. Not really join back together, but they kind of interact with each other in hopes of eventually coming back. But one thing they were missing was, of course, Zeb. They were missing Zeb and Callus. They weren't in the show at all. Everybody else was there except them. And I also kind of feel, I have a strong feeling that eventually I think Kanan will show up as a Force Ghost or something. Something along those lines. I'm thinking he'll eventually show up. I'm hoping he does, but I don't know for sure. I don't even know if they're doing a season two. I'm gonna guess they're doing a season two or something to tie everything in. Something along those lines. Whether that even be Mandalorian season four, maybe they have some stuff there. People are even talking about like a big huge like end game type movie or even TV show. Um, so I 100% know they're gonna tie the story together. So that's why I'm not being like super harsh on the show right now, like within my review, because like eventually I feel like it'll tie in a little bit more. But if I had to just review it on its own, it would just be like it just kind of be like meh. A lot of writing would have been a little sloppy, but I mean it's still decent writing. So in my opinion, so yeah. So now to get into the more like the bad. So I already kind of touched a little bit on the bad with the whole mercenaries or Sith or whatever they were. Being like it was kind of like I don't even know. Even that one guy, that one I don't even think they said his name, but he was there was a third one, and the way he just died like that and just he like said barely anything, wasn't explained at all. That was kind of weird in my opinion. So yeah. Um, Another thing again, they didn't explain some of the characters very well. The other character I forget, I'm forgetting on her name too, Elizabeth something, but again they didn't even properly like in, well I'm not gonna say properly introduced because we've seen her in Mandalorian season two, I think it was season two or maybe season three, I can't remember, but I think it's season two. We've seen her before, but we never really understood her story. Like I didn't understand some of the stuff. It would have been nice to hit a little refresher or something. Um, Maybe potentially explain a little bit like how she's a night witch and all that. That was something I was just like, how does that make sense? A nice thing too as well would definitely be like with the whole Thrawn thing. They didn't really explain properly of what was going on and stuff like that. It was just kind of like a mess. I'm not gonna lie when it came down to that. As well as another thing too, I found kind of weird. This is just me. I guess you could. I guess you. I suppose you could say the reason he has stormtroopers again because those are the ones that were on the ship when it almost got destroyed. Or I don't even fully understand that whole zombie thing. That's one thing I don't understand, as well as the whole Ezra and Thrawn never even seen each other after all these years. That makes no sense to me at least. But I suspect they're trying to do something with that. I don't know. But I mean, there's a lot of like question marks and just like not understanding of characters because they didn't write it properly. I'm gonna be real. Next thing I kind of have to say too as well. I feel I'm gonna be real. Another thing too is like this show is called Ahsoka and it's supposed to highlight Ahsoka, but I realistically, it had some good Ahsoka moments. It showcased that whole Anakin training arc thing and all that stuff. Kind of building on Ahsoka's character, but at the same time, it felt as if Sabine and the whole Rebels crew was kind of like taking a lot of the spotlight away from her, and that kind of made it seem like this is just like a Rebel series featuring Ahsoka. That's what it felt like at some times, right? And I was just like, this isn't an Ahsoka show we're watching. This is a whole Rebel show. And I understand they had to put them in there just because Thrawn was like set up to be the main villain or whatever. But I just feel as if, honestly, like the way I see this is just it didn't give enough Ahsoka in my opinion. That just she kind of felt like a side character in her own show. That's honestly in my opinion. I felt like Sabine was like the main character of the show, which I personally, as much as I like Sabine, I wanted to see a lot of more Ahsoka. Ahsoka is a cool character in Star Wars, and I feel like they could have expanded a little bit more. Definitely had her like definitely be doing stuff by herself or whatever. But I mean, I understand the Rebels inclusion, but at the same time, I'm just like, why so much of it? I mean, it's cool if they came in, but they're meant to be more. I hate to say it, but they're meant to be more side characters in this because this is not Rebels. This is Ahsoka. So I'm just like, that's another thing as well. But I mean, it's not like a super big complaint or anything, but yeah. And then like my kind of like final reaction, I would say this is a good show. I definitely think it's worth the watch. It's in the better half of the Star Wars shows, in my opinion. I liked all of it. It was pretty good. I definitely recommend you watch it if you haven't already. Rating wise, I give it a solid 8 out of 10. There isn't crazy wrong with it, but there is a few like minor problems. But that's it. That's basically it. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.